Welcome to Frederick's Garage, your favorite location for the eradication of oxidation on your restoration or your transportation. This is Tool Story, where we talk about tools and parts that pertain to our hobby cars or ourselves, things that bring back memories or have a special interest of some sort. In today's episode, we talk about the master cylinder. This particular master cylinder pertains to or belongs to my 54 Bel Air. That is the Bel Airror. It's had a long and storied life, but it has been in the family since new. My first memories of it were when my grandfather owned it in the 60s, and I would ride with him and my father, that being my paternal grandfather. We'd ride around and do various errands and have different experiences, and this was the vehicle we did it in. Had a lot of good memories, and upon his passing in 1968, this car became my father's, and it was our family's second car. It was our first second car. Being a two-car family at that time, especially in our income bracket, was a bit of a big deal, but the cars always held special memories. In any case, we'll sit down and talk about that and how this master cylinder played a pivotal role. My father and I had driven the Bel Air home from my grandfather's home after his passing, after the paperwork was done and the estate was settled. It was about 2.5 hours away from where we lived in southeastern Pennsylvania. The car came from the Scranton area, the northeastern part of the state. In any case, that ride was a memorable one. My father shared a lot of memories he had of his father, and of course the pain of the loss of a parent was visible to me even at my age of 6 or 7. Our family had always had station wagons, so having a car with only 2 doors and a little shelf under the back window and the trunk, that was really something, let alone the trim and the styling of a car from the 50s. I mean, for a young kid, that was that was quite the thing. This was a sight to behold. When family activities came up, this was the car we'd take, whether it was the whole family or just my father and I for father-son activities. I mean, this was always the ride of choice, at least from my perspective. I totally fell in love with this thing. So we had a lot of good times in it for about a year and a half. And all of a sudden, we had some bad news. The brakes had started to fail in the car. My father, being somewhat handy but not an auto mechanic by any stretch, took it to a friend's or an acquaintance's shop and quickly was told that the car needed a master cylinder. He was also told that a master cylinder wasn't obtainable and that we would have to junk the car. As a young kid, 7, 8 years old, I was heartbroken. I was devastated. What are we going to do? A little bit of explanations in order. This is the master cylinder. Unlike a modern car, this master cylinder sits on the frame underneath the floor, and the brake pedal attaches to this lever, and the brake pedal actually goes into the floor. It wasn't until 1955 that the master cylinder was mounted on the firewall and the car had hanging pedals hanging from underneath the dashboard, much like modern cars today. So this master cylinder was somewhat obscure. To complicate matters too, the master cylinder on an automatic car, which this is different than that of a stick shift car. The stick shift master cylinder is different in this area and has a second arm for the clutch pedal. So in any case, that was a bit of a conundrum. What are you going to do when the part you need is unobtainium. So my father, not to be easily deterred, dragged me along to all the local junkyards in search of the obscure but the much needed automatic master cylinder. We struck out at a number of yards. This took place over a couple weekends. And finally, we found one automatic car laying on its side. However, the car had been burned. The purpose of burning the car back then was to get all the soft parts out in order to prepare the metal for reuse or recycling. In any case, being on its side, it was a little easier for us to unbolt than if we had to crawl under the car. However, we did pull that master cylinder, and the car having been burned, the master cylinder wasn't usable as is. My father, being both stubborn and resourceful, found a rebuild kit at a local Napa store and took it on himself to try and rebuild the toasted, roasted master cylinder from the aforementioned junk car. In any case, his tools at that time consisted of about a 10-piece Craftsman ratchet set and a few combination and double box-ended wrenches, let alone screwdrivers and pliers and the like. So, you know, an undertaking like this wasn't something that was really in his wheelhouse. But, you know, he rolled up his sleeves and got at it. I believe he rolled up some emery cloth, not knowing what hone was, let alone having one, and honed the thing out manually in that manner. In any case, the master cylinder seemed like it would hold pressure and would work. So he grabbed me and spent some time underneath the car installing the thing. Of course, his skill set didn't involve the know-how or the capability to bleed the brakes. So once the installation was complete, we took it to the same local shop, had them bleed the brakes, and happy days. We once again had solid hydraulics and a functioning brake system. So, of course, that installation procedure was the first time I'd been underneath the car, first time I'd seen the world of the underside of a car, all the hoses and pipes and lines and wires, and I was quite simply amazed. In any case, huge learning experience for me, but one of those moments that maybe many of you have also experienced, where you're a young, impressionable fellow and you find out that your father or other responsible adult is somewhat of a hero. If you've had a similar experience with your own mechanical awakening, or if you have another story of a parent or another responsible adult doing a Hail Mary on something that you held dear, let me know in the comments. I'm always interested in a good story. Thank you for watching. Cheers.